the Pac-12, their championship game, like the Big Ten or like the SEC, just pitted the South and the North. In the SEC, it's the East and the West. In the Big Ten, it's the two conferences. They have that funky name. It's naturally how it works. The Pac-12, I guess, starting next year, is going to go based on win percentage. I take it in the conference, not total win percentage. Is that the case?
Starting this year, they're actually going to do it. So there's still divisions this year. I give them credit because they're like, we want to change it. Let's change it right now instead of let's wait 2 years or, generally that's how those things work.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard to make an argument to keep divisions other than, well, there's two arguments. You maintain some of the divisional rivalries if you have historical divisional rivalries. And also, if you're a team that usually doesn't win the league, you'd rather have divisions because then you finish third instead of like sixth, right?
Yeah.
But
they want to make it so basically like Alabama and LSU would be able to play each other in the SEC.
Yeah, you just want your two best teams. From a television standpoint, it's better to have your best teams in the championship game, right? From just a value of your title game, it's better to have two top 15 teams playing each other instead of a top 15 team and an 8-5 team from the
If Oregon and Washington are sweet or USC and Utah are sweet, you'd want them playing.
Well, like the first year of the Pac-12, Oregon and Stanford were both 8-1 in the league and top 12 teams, whatever it was.
And only one got.
But one of them, I think Oregon had beaten Stanford head-to-head or the other way around, whichever. They played like – I don't even remember who it was out of the Pac-12 South.
I went to Mariota's year when they went to play Jameis and went to the national championship when they played the Pac-12 at Levi's. You know who they played?
UCLA?
They played a Rich Rod Arizona team, and they beat the shit out of them.
So that's what it was. SC won the South, wasn't eligible. Arizona replaced them. But even SC shouldn't. SC was Stanford, Oregon were both better than SC that year.
Yeah. They played an Arizona team that was like 7-5, who wasn't any good, and they killed them.
A few years ago, remember when Washington beat Utah like 10-3 in the title game?
Yeah.
What it would have been was a rematch of the Apple Cup, which was top 10 Washington State, top 10 Washington.
So they want that,
which was the game that was in the snow. Yeah. Once you get to the playoffs, you really want it to happen once there's a college football playoff because you don't want a bad team upsetting your good team and getting the automatic bid.
So what's the risk in doing this?
Well, I guess the only risk is that it's more likely that your higher ranked team loses.
Why wouldn't every conference do this then?
Well, you used to not be able to until this year. They just passed a rule a few weeks ago. The rule used to be that if you're going to have a conference title game, you had to either have divisions or round robin play. So like the Big 10 has had the Big 12 has had a conference title game because it's only had 10 teams. And so everybody plays everybody.
Got you.
But that's the only league. Well, the AAC's done it, but they had
that's why you get a lot of, I guess every year you get a rematch in the Big 12. Like the teams have already played in the Big 12. Like Baylor last year in Oklahoma State had already played.
There's no divisions. And they all
cool.
play each other.
And it works.
Yeah. So this is where like ultimately smaller leagues are good because you want everybody playing everybody. Like the SEC is so huge now.
Would you want, though, the possibility, would this be cool? And this could happen like Alabama, Auburn, USC, UCLA, Michigan, Ohio State to then just have a rematch a week later. Would that be a little weird?
Yeah, but I mean, think about the Pac-12 had it. It was Utah-Oregon rematch like 2 weeks later last year. It was 2 weeks.
But part of it, what I'm talking about specifically is the rivalry game. So if the rivalry game, those are your two best teams, before like when Michigan, Ohio State, like last year, they're playing to go. Like those were the two best teams in the conference. Yeah. Last year, if they would fall under this, they would have replayed. Auburn, Alabama probably doesn't happen as much.
What is it bad to have your rivalry game replayed?
Well, like you're giving the example of that Leach-Peterson situation would have been cool, right? Yeah.
I think more rivalry games always better. And ultimately, the reason you're in the game is because you're one of the two best teams. I mean, think about the ACC championship game is irrelevant because it's always Clemson against the coast, whoever's from the
Pitt.
The Big Ten championship game has been a little bit of a downer. It's felt like because it's always like, well, here comes Northwestern.
Yeah,
I remember watching. Was it last year? Northwestern was in the game. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
When it was like, and now here come because Gus does the introductions. It's Ohio State. Now here come the champions of the Big Ten East or West or whichever it is because they changed the. I don't know the
champions,
but it's like, come on, So I think it's good for the sport.